What is up, you guys? So about a year ago, I did a video ranking every single Spider-Man movie from worst to best. Well, today I'm going to be doing that, but with Star Wars movies. I'll be doing the three main trilogies, and I will be doing Rogue One and Solo. I will not be including the random Clone Wars movie because I feel like that should have been 2 or 3 episodes. So, starting things off, in last place, Star Wars The Last Jedi. The acting isn't that great, there's almost no real emotion, and I just can't really think of anything good to say about this movie. I mean, I think that it's cool that Mark Hamill did come back and reprised his role as Luke Skywalker, but overall, this movie is not good. Coming in at number 10, we have Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. The best thing about this movie was the hype for it. The hype for this movie was absolutely insane. It was a box office hit, but was it an actually good movie? Not really. I mean, somehow Palpatine returned. Very lazy writing. I mean, there were some cool visuals in this movie, but overall, nothing really good to say about it other than that. At number 9, Star Wars Attack of the Clones. I am not a fan of this movie. It is a very slow movie, and considering the prequel trilogy is really good, this movie really disappointed me, and I'm just not a big fan of it. I mean, I am a fan of the fight scenes with Jango Fett and in the arena, but overall, that's it. The fight scenes are the only things, and it didn't really bring the emotion that the other movies had. At number 8, we have Solo, a Star Wars story. I saw this movie in the theaters, and I still have a soft spot for it. Now, it's not the best Star Wars movie ever, but it is very solid, and kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, this show is filling a plot hole that doesn't exist, if that makes any sense. So, like, this movie was definitely not necessary, but I was a fan of the acting, and I think it's a solid movie. I mean, I think it's very underrated. At number 7, I have Rogue One. This is probably the most underrated Star Wars movie. It started one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Andor, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Rogue One. The action in this movie is amazing. Some of the best visuals we've ever seen from Star Wars, and I think it's just a really solid movie overall. I just think we didn't see enough of Cassian Andor in this movie, in my opinion. But overall, it was very good and really solid side story. At number 6, Star Wars The Force Awakens. I am a fan of this movie, and it just went downhill from here, but I'm not going to talk about the other 2 movies and how this trilogy is really bad. I'm just going to talk about this one specific movie, Star Wars The Force Awakens. The hype around this movie was insane. Everyone was so excited for it, and it almost lived up to the hype. I mean, the acting was great, introduced us to this new character, Kylo Ren, and he was actually a really well written character in that movie. And we had Captain Phasma, one of the coldest Star Wars villains ever, very underrated, and overall just a really fun, exciting movie that introduces us to these brand new characters. But it's just not as good as some of the other older, better Star Wars movies that we've had in the past. At number 5, we have Star Wars The Phantom Menace to start out the top 5. This has my favorite lightsaber duel of all time, with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn fighting Darth Maul. I love the double lightsaber, and overall this movie was just a great introduction to the prequel trilogy and introducing us to a lot of characters that we wanted to see that were referenced in the original trilogy. I'm a big fan of this movie, and I think it's overlooked a lot. At number 4, we have Star Wars A New Hope. I've seen this movie countless times, and it is so rewatchable. It's a great movie, and it's a classic. I mean, this started the entire Star Wars franchise, which would turn out to be one of the biggest franchises in cinema history. And I just love this movie. I mean, I can't say a lot of bad things about it. I mean, the only thing that I could really critique about this movie was there was a little bit of a lack of emotional depth and a little bit of action. But overall, it is a very good movie, and it's infinitely rewatchable. Coming into the top 3, at number 3, I have Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. This is the most emotional Star Wars project. I didn't say movie, I said project. The emotion here is insane, the plot is great, and the writing is amazing. I mean, I just really like how Anakin is turning to the dark side. Why is this not number 1? Because 2 and 1 are better in my opinion. And at number 2, I have Star Wars Return of the Jedi. This is such a good movie. It introduces us to the Ewoks. It gives us a really good send-off to the original trilogy, and it is just overall a really good movie. If you're a Star Wars fan, you love this movie, and I love it too, but it's just not quite as good as number 1, which is Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, the darkest Star Wars movie, one of the best written Star Wars movies, and overall, I mean, just one of the best movies ever made, in my opinion. I mean, it is sci-fi at its best. I mean, there is actually, like, there's some really deep plots here, and I really like the kind of Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker kind of relationship type thing. Like, it's not much of a relationship, but, kind of like, like, the canter between them is actually really interesting, and I just love this movie, and it is easily the best Star Wars movie in my book. Now, a lot of people could easily interchange the top 3, but overall, I think that top 3 is safe to say a lot of Star Wars fans would agree. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video of me ranking every Star Wars movie, and I will be doing more cool videos like this with reactions and rankings, so make sure that you subscribe and keep on the lookout for that.